Welcome to Brotherhood Restored, the LDS Man's Heart. We're excited to have you. This is all created just to be able to make a space where LDS men, Christian men, whatever you identify with, are able to come and have real conversations that really matter, not just those surface level. We're going to talk about the news, but really dive into a man's heart, dive into what that looks like, what it feels like to have three men from totally different backgrounds come together and have a conversation on the topics of wife and infidelity and children and the world and everything. So whether you are a broken man, a man that's at his peak, or somewhere in between, we hope that you can resonate with the message that we are bringing, with the level of transparency and vulnerability and taking down the mask and the front to be able to have genuine, authentic conversations. So without further ado, we hope that you enjoyed this podcast. We hope that you enjoy what you're listening to. This is Brotherhood Restored, LDS Man's Heart.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny.
You sound like my dad.
Every time that we start this, I do appreciate it. We never start without us laughing.
Isn't that great?
And it's cool because every time that we start, you know, people are jumping in, and I'm just gonna roll with it, you know. And it's cool because every time we start, we're just laughing.
That's good. Well, it just
We're just having a good time.
That's right.
As we enjoy each other's company, we get in a bond, man.
I like how the camera's set up. I
Because
feel like the last couple times I'm always trying to like hide my manhood, you know.
I'm not cutting any of this out. This is all gonna be in there.
Father God, forgive them, for they not know what they say. Like, what is going on?
Like I'm mansplaining right now.
You are mansplaining. Well, welcome everybody. This is
This is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. This is Brotherhood Restored.
That's right.
We're glad to have you. As always, I'm Cortland.
I'm Alan.
Javon, representing the Branch Family Chronicles. And here's the look.
All right. What was that new nickname?
What'd you call me? Molly Libby?
Oh, Willie Lump Lump.
Willie Lump Lump.
Willie Lump Lump.
Willie Lump Lump.
That actually was-
representing.
That actually was off of a movie back in the day, Minister Society.
Oh,
And actually, they got it probably for something because a lot of black people do say that. Man, you know, little Willie Lump. Yeah, that's so. But yeah.
Willie Lump Lump.
But it was perfect timing when I said it, though.
yeah. You know, the Willie Lump Lump, just got that from Javon. Last nickname I got from a black guy, Sea Dog.
See, dog.
Sea Dog. We were playing basketball over here at the church. Sea Dog, pass the rock. Sea Dog. I'm like, all right.
Sea Dog.
Sea Dog.
Where'd you get that from?
I don't know. That was it though. I gotta write these down. You know, all the nicknames I've been given.
My nicknames aren't appropriate for this conversation.
Us black people in general, we love coming up with nicknames. It's just our thing. I don't know why we do. We just do.
And sometimes the nicknames are so good.
Hey.
They just hit different. They make you laugh. Like we had that same group I was playing basketball with. This guy, he had longer hair, and he'd always come with his hair up.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone called him Ninja. Hey, Ninja.
I see that.
Yeah.
Like the samurais. And
Uh-huh.
stuff. Yep.
Everyone called him Ninja.
Yeah.
I freaking love that nickname.
That's what we do, man. Look, I think that's all I do is give people nicknames. I don't really call them like you guys are the only ones I actually call by your full name, and it's not gonna last long. I'm gonna tell you now. I'm gonna end up giving you nicknames. That's just me. So
I'm gonna ask you now every time I see you. What's my nickname?
once I come up with it, it has to be something that
Has to come natural.
Yeah,
to be real.
Yep. Yeah, I don't go into it like, ooh, what kind of nickname? I don't do that.
You could call me Vanilla, but that's kind of derogatory.
I'm not touching that.
Well, I mean, you said that your favorite ice cream was
I know. So only because you can add stuff to it.
Well, today we wanted to come together and we're just talking about what we wanted to talk about today. And as you know, and as we've kind of made it very clear, this is very raw. This is just us coming together as LDS men, speaking from our own lived experiences, speaking from our own opinions, our own perspectives, not representing the church.
Right.
Just LDS men that speak about what's going on.
We like to be real.
Yeah, real.
Really raw.
Yeah, raw, real.
And the beauty in that is that we have fun, the genuine conversations. There's nothing, in all of our recordings, we that responsibility of editing is on me. I don't cut anything out. It's all just cut to when we start talking and cut once we stop talking.
Lord forbid somebody pass gas. He'll I'm just saying. Like,
and we're gonna have it in there.
Yeah.
And hopefully Alan says excuse me, and then we just move on.
No way, I just own it.
Yeah, but it was me. I mean,
Hey, if it clears the room, it'll just be me for a
it
minute.
probably will clear the room because if I hear any noise or silence, I'm out. I'm just letting you know now. And the boy's out.
So with that being said, one thing that we wanted to talk about today was a little bit of fatherhood, a little bit about kind of how that plays into our current lives, whether that be in the past and kind of what we're doing right now. But that was just kind of the main topic that we wanted to talk about today and kind of engage in with you is fatherhood. So
Awesome.
Alan, this was one thing that you wanted that you brought up as kind of you sparked it. You were the catalyst. So let's have you just kind of jump into it.
Well,
Go.
I as you noted earlier, I fail a lot being a dad.
I didn't say that. I just agreed with it. You said it.
It's okay. My feelings are hurt. It's fine. So the reality is, we all have kids.
Yeah.
We all have parents with completely different backgrounds. We've talked about our backgrounds, talked a little bit about our upbringing, and how engaged our parents were in our lives and what that meant for us. But this is more really about what I'm doing today and what I'm doing tomorrow, or what I have done to be a good dad, and reflecting on how I can be better. What are the wins that I've accomplished with my kids, with my family? I just was reflecting on that a lot. I think when we talk about fatherhood, we tend to look back and see, okay, this is what I didn't get from my dad or from my parents, instead of looking forward and saying, what am I going to do for my kids, regardless of that, of that background?
Well, I think that they go hand in hand though, because it has to do a lot with like our professions in general, right? We tend to gravitate towards things that have affected us or kind of that were in our life before, moving forward. It's not very often it happens that people just like totally jump ship and go somewhere else.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like for example, when I was, must have been like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I'm going up and I'm going to present at BYU and specifically going to present at the Life After Loss conference, which is a conference that they're hosting about grieving.
Mm-hmm.
And they had asked me to come and be the expert on suicide. And I'm published in that area, specifically with like helping children deal with that. And I called up my dad, right? And we were just talking, and then I brought up that I was going to go to BYU, and I was presenting. He's like, "Oh, that's awesome. What are you presenting about?" And I was like, "Oh, it's about suicide." And he's like, "Ooh, that's a hard topic." And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "How do you do that?" And then I'm like, in that moment, I realized I'm like, "Ooh, I've never told my father that I attempted suicide." And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, uh, hate to spring this on you, but, you know, I attempted when I was younger, and it just was something that I dealt with and I went through. So then it became something that I was passionate about, something that I wanted to help other people in.
Yeah.
Right. So then it comes into play with our fathers as well, right? Where there's some of that kind of positive where it's like, my father was so good at this and I'm going to keep that going.
Yep.
But then at the same time, I was like, my father sucked at this and I will never be that man.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that there's a lot of that where, yes, looking forward to the future of how we're going to help our children. But then at the same time, a lot of it comes to play from our experiences as sons and what we experience with our fathers.
Well, and that, I think we were talking about this a little bit before, where there's people that instead of looking for the good, the bad, you don't always have to look for.
And the ugly.
And the ugly, like it's people, maybe it's just a human thing, tend to focus on the bad.
Yeah.
And then they amplify that. And now their dad, who was probably decent, turned into some kind of villain.
Yeah.
And I've seen that in my own family. And it's unfortunate because dads that are doing their best deserve credit for that. And then the dads that need to get it together. And so I like how you said that, though. You know, as I think about my own upbringing, and I don't want to dwell too much on how we were brought up. I want to kind of talk about what we're doing now in our homes. But as I think of my upbringing, why is the gospel so important to me? It was important to my dad, right? He showed me that part of his life and shared it with me. And that was important to him.
Right.
And that is important to me. And maybe, you know, that gift alone is, you know, one of the most important gifts we can give our children is a foundation in the gospel. Or a foundation in morality, whatever that is for you, like giving your children that is critical. And so, you know, thanks for doing the whole psychology thing here for us.
Yeah, well,
because as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you know, my profession is a teacher.
Yeah.
Well, I was homeschooled growing up. Now you know what's weird about me. Everyone knows. That's why I'm weird.
Look, my kids are homeschooled. I don't homeschool myself, but
oh yeah.
So no, it's not weird.
And I had a really hard time with learning. I think that if I had been at a traditional school, I would have had an IEP. You know, so when I start my career and it works its way into teaching, now I want kids to be able to learn in a safe environment.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, what we go through, what we get from our parents absolutely does impact what we choose to do in our future and how we approach our own children and our own families. John, what are your thoughts?
I mean, you know, you said earlier you really didn't want to dive into the past, but you can't talk about the present as being a father without talking about a little bit of history of your upbringing with your father. For me, as you guys know, my dad wasn't there.
Right.
He was there here and there, but he wasn't present on a full-time basis because I grew up in foster care, and, you know, from moving from home, basically couch hopping from one couch to the next couch. So, but the moments that we did share, I will say this. My dad always cared. It was just the way he went about it. And I didn't get that. And for the longest time, he taught me just seeing him, and it kind of made me have this tough exterior. And so, which was kind of hard because of not having an example of an actual father figure. I didn't know how to be a dad, you know? And so, whereas in a couple of my kids missed out on me being in their life as a dad because I didn't have my life together. Whereas in, you know, the last 3 here actually have got to see me grow into a dad and be a dad and becoming one and knowing how to be one. So, you know, I just look at life like you just deal with it in a way that if you didn't have a good upbringing, you make sure that for your kids right now in this moment that you choose to not allow them to go through the things that you went through, the struggles, the difficulties, not them not having a father or mother. Well, father was what we talk about, not a father being present in their lives. Whereas in now, that's basically what I have done. You know, my three girls, from my oldest to my youngest, I'm there. I'm dad. You know, I'm there to support them. And even then, it took a long time for me to learn. But now it's like I'm looking at it, especially the two youngest with their autism. Like, yo, I'm a dad. I'm being an actual dad. Like, it's blows my mind. Like, because again, I'm like, I'm doing this. I wasn't showed how to do this. I didn't have no teacher, you know, nothing of it. But to see me doing it, like, I'm a stay-at-home dad now. Like, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, you know, I'm playing with them. I'm, you know, going over like homework and stuff with them. This is stuff that I didn't get, you know. So for me to be doing it now, it's truly amazing. But it taught me all that toughness and stuff when I found my wife, kind of like it all worked itself out. Because even with that, my girls know how tough I can be. But with my girls and with girls in general, you have to show them a certain level of gentleness, you know, a certain level of vulnerability. You can't be hardcore with them. Whereas, and I kind of did that with my son. And I realized it later on that you couldn't be, he needed you to be vulnerable at certain moments. I was, but his mom used to always be like, "You're so militant." But that's because I had this wall up and because of everything I went through. What she didn't realize and what she didn't see in the moment was just pain. I was reacting. It was just pain. And so that's how I knew how to be a father in that moment was I'm going to be hard. I'm going to be tough on you because these streets and what I've had to deal with was hard and tough. Yeah. So I want to make sure I prepare you for it. Was it right for him? No, it wasn't. Because he's a big old softy. And that just wasn't the way that he needed love him to death, but that's just not who he is. You know, and I think had I been around, a part of him probably would have developed in being that way, but he didn't have to experience the things I had to experience, you know.
So, question for all of us. It's getting rough for Cortland, I guess.
Yeah.
So what should we say about him when he's gone?
I think I heard the little wolf.
Yeah. We can talk about this more when he comes back.
Well, you can ask me questions.
Or he can edit this.
Yeah. You know he edited it. He's not gonna do this. But go ahead.
I love the word intentional. Because it means that you've actually put thought into something. Maybe you even planned it. Yes. So what are some of the intentional things you guys are doing as dads, as parents, to take your parenthood to the next level? Like from maybe where your dad did to where you are doing, or what you were doing a few years ago to what you're trying to do now. What are the intentional things you guys are doing that helps?
I think the intentional thing for me is showing my kids that I love them, no matter what, good, bad, indifferent.
So how do you do that?
I'm constantly like, okay, so I say my baby, Michaela, for her, she's a very emotional person. And so you have to talk to her a certain way. When she's doing wrong, even though your intent, you want to be like, yo, what the, but you can't come at her like that because she'll take that to heart and she'll be crying for hours. And so with her, what I do is, hey, it's okay. Calm down. Let me tell you what you did wrong. Daddy don't like that. And so I have to talk to her like, you know, baby talk a little bit, but be very gentle with her. Jada is a little bit similar, but with Jada, she needs more love far as me hugging her, you know, and
physical touch.
Yeah, the physical touch. She needs the physical touch, whereas Michaela don't really need. Now Michaela loves the physical touch, but she don't really need it the way Jada is more of a, you know, if she knows she did wrong, she'll get sad and it'll bother her. And she'll be like, "Daddy, can I hug you?" Because she doesn't like for Daddy to be mad, you know. And it's not, I'm telling her, I know you may think that I'm mad. I'm not always mad. I know it might look like that, but it's not. I'm like, yo, you'll know when daddy mad because my voice will go up. If I'm still talking in the same straight tone, it's not that I'm mad, but I'm being very firm and direct with you because I want you to understand and get it and for you to not do it again, which is difficult too with them because they both have this artistic mentality with them having autism. So they don't comprehend everything. So sometimes you have to, just like some kids, you have to tell them things over and over again. With them, it's 10 times over and over again.
Sure.
Or showing them examples, or telling them an example of something. So I'm very intentional about letting them know that I love them. I'm here for them no matter what the situation is. That is going to be there. Even down to my oldest girl, that she knows daddy. She know how I am. And she's my, even though she's my stepdaughter, I'm the one she called daddy.
How old is she?
She's 32.
32, okay.
So, baby girl, the one
Your
thing.
daughter's older than Cortland.
That was rude. I didn't say that, Joel.
Again, like I said, black don't crack. Right. So there you go.
Yeah, you're not gonna look.
You would have never thought I would have had a 32.
Hey, when I'm 50, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna be rocking that suit all the time.
Yeah, but for her, she knows that I love her because I showed it, not verbally and physically with her. Baby girl, she was very sweet. Well, it's like she passed it. She's very sweet. She was very emotional, but because of certain things that her biological father came off at her with, it upset her. So, when I first came in her life, we would have conversations where she wouldn't even call mom and tell her, my wife would be like, did you talk to baby girl? I'm like, yeah, Sharon called me. She called you. Well, she's supposed to be calling me. But no, dad is on the scene. A dad is showing her love, and it got to a point that, I want my girls to know that, look, dad gonna ride or die for you. When the oldest got disrespected by a dude, daddy had to put them paws on him. And yes, it's not, I wouldn't recommend anybody do that. Have restraint if you can. But for me in those days, I didn't have restraint and I ended up getting locked up behind it, But again, I'm going to go hard for my girls, That's just what it is. I'm not going to play that disrespect, but that's me. That's me being a father in my eyes. I can't tell nobody how they should be as a father. But that's how I am as a dad. I'm very protective, and my girls know that. Even my son know that. I'm very protective.
Well, I do think there's some, like you said, maybe some restraint we should have.
Yeah.
When that protective element for us comes out, believe me, I see it as school admin.
Yeah.
Parents are crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but I think there are some universal, really good things that parents can do.
Yeah.
And what you're explaining, like you said, I'm not telling someone else how to be a good dad or not, but there's some good universal truths.
Yeah.
Showing them. I love that you mentioned that as an intentional thing. Like, this is how I'm going to show my children love differently because they're different.
Yeah. And each one of them are different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome.
When I think there was President Nelson, he once talked about how he was, it might have been Sister Nelson. She was talking, and oftentimes President Nelson would go up to her and say, how can I show you that I love you today?
That's a good question.
And, just like that. And I think there's a lot of beauty in the intentionality of showing love. What was my name again?
Willie Lump Lump.
Willie Lump Lump.
How does Willie
We
Lump
call
Lump?
you that. We call you Cortland.
It doesn't really fit.
No, trust me, you don't want that name.
But how do I, what do I do intentionally as a father? I take all their candy. No, one thing, and I was just talking with one of my other buddies. I just met him a couple weeks ago, and he's super into outdoors. And he's been wanting to connect, and we went out and we did this adventure the other day. And we're having a similar conversation. And one thing that I do intentionally, I apologize.
Mm.
And that's been really big for me, and I've worked really hard to do that. And one of the reasons why I go about it and I apologize a lot is because I don't want my children to make up a false reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of comes off a little selfish, but there's a reason behind it. When I was doing research and we found out that there's a lot of research that supports this, if children aren't told the truth, they make up the truth.
Yeah.
And as adults, we experience this too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we're all dating, you message a girl, you call a girl, and she doesn't answer the phone. Oh, she don't like me. She's not into me.
Yeah, immediately
did
your
something.
mind goes to this,
Yeah,
these
and we
areas.
just make up.
Yeah.
We just make up reality.
Happens when I text
Right.
Cortland. He takes like 3 days to text back, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I thought we were friends.
Hey,
Yeah.
hard to get. You gotta keep it.
You gotta play the game.
Don't hate
That's
the
why I
player,
texted
right?
one time, but if I don't hear from him, kick out. I'll let you. So
But-
when he texts me, I act like I don't even know him.
Like, who's this? Right? What? Who?
So then when we're sitting there, you know, and I make mistakes all the time, and I'm sitting there and you know we're trying to do something, and I hear some disrespect from you know my children towards Simone, and I like jump up, I'm out in the room, and I just kind of confronting the situation because I have always been very protective and specific, especially of Simone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get out there and then Simone will be like, "Hey, babe, you like this happened, right? Like we're good." And then it's like, okay, you know, and then just explaining it a little bit, and it's like, "Hey, I thought you were being rude. Mom just told me this. I'm sorry for whatever, right?" Or if I get upset and I yell at the kids or something like that, I go to them and I apologize. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be giving you a good example of how to handle your emotions. I didn't do that,
Yeah.
but I want you to know that it's not because of you,
Yeah.
right? It's not because you did it. It's because I'm still working. And the reason the reason why I do that is the making up their own reality. But I don't want for a lot of my life I put my dad on this pedestal. That my dad was perfect. My dad was infallible, that there was nothing wrong with him. And that was hard because then it turned into I had to do everything right to make him happy. Yep. I had to live up to the expectations that I created for some reason. And I want my children to just know that I'm imperfect. And like it's okay.
Yeah. It is.
It's okay, but not just for me, for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not the, like, for example, the kids are taking piano. I have no idea about anything for piano.
Right.
And the kids will like be sitting there working on something like, "Papa, what does this mean?" I'm like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry." And they're and just that simple piece of like, instead of getting mad, like, "I told you to stop asking me,"
Yeah.
right? Like I don't know. And that relationship that I'm hoping to build with them is twofold. That one, they see that I'm imperfect, but so that way they don't put
I'll
me on
tell
this
them
pedestal.
if they're ever wondering, I'll tell them.
I don't want them putting me on a pedestal
Yeah.
and then like working to try to please me or try to make me proud. Like I'm so proud of them already for what they are.
Uh-huh.
And then the second piece, I don't want them getting into a relationship with friends, with brothers, with girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, where their partner won't apologize.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's some bad stuff out there where a lot of and I speaking specifically, about women, like there are a lot of women out there that are dating guys that just treat them like trash. Everything's their fault.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they make them feel very small.
Make them feel
Awful.
very
Yeah.
small. And man,
Yeah.
I do not want my daughters,
Mm.
and it happens with women too. They treat men that way.
Yeah.
They belittle them. They make everything their fault, their problem.
Yeah.
And I just don't want that.
Yeah.
So if they live in a relationship or in a home where they're constantly seeing somebody apologize,
And they're not receiving it from the person that they may be.
and then they're like,
Sounds not.
That's the red
What?
flag.
You
Get
need-
away from this.
why are you blaming me for that? Like, you just did that.
And if
And then being able to catch on,
yeah,
No, that's interesting. The intended / unintended consequence of what you're doing is that's how you grow. Recognizing our weakness. I don't know everything. I can apologize for my imperfections and my mistakes, but then you can then grow. There's no growth without identifying or understanding that a mistake was made. So that's a great example for your
Yeah,
kids.
and for me, I need to apologize, but that's been one thing that I very much amplified, because I wanna teach them to own it. I want to teach them to look for it. I want to teach them to be it. What about you, Alan? What's your intentional parenting?
When I say that I do this, I also need to do better at it. But conversations, I want my kids to be able to talk to me. I'm a little afraid sometimes that if I'm not a place for them to unload, for them to just talk to, that they might go to a source that isn't as kind or
noble,
there you go.
or righteous.
That's right. And I'm not saying I'm
I
perfect
mean
at those
that.
things. No,
I
I
mean
know
that
exactly
kinda-
what you're saying.
No, but
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because where I'm trying to be noble and righteous and I fail at that,
yeah,
I am trying. But if they go to a different source that is clearly not trying, or the complete opposite, I'm worried what they will get. And so I want my kids to feel like they can come talk to me anytime they want. And there's some downsides to that, because sometimes at 11 o'clock at night,
I want to go to bed.
I want to go to bed. And my kids come in and just start yapping about nothing. And, or I'm watching a show. And I'm like, guys, it's 9 o'clock at night.
yeah.
Can you just let me unwind?
I got Sherlock
chill.
on right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I deal with that every day.
And so here's what I've tried to do. I've tried to do a couple of things with this. If they come in and want to start talking to me, I'll pause the show. I want them to know that you talking to me is more important than anything I'm watching. So I intentionally pause the show.
Right.
And then I'll just let them talk. Now, after 30 or 40 minutes, I might be, all right, buddy, time for bed, or mom and I need to go to bed, or, we want to finish this before we go to bed, reasonable without being, too rude about it. But I want them to, if they come and bother me when I'm doing something that's more important than what I'm doing, and I'll figure out how to catch up with what I'm doing later on. And I remember this very specific thing with Kimberly. She's my oldest. She's 19. I've said before, she's on a mission, kind of a dream mission. Laie, Hawaii. Did I say that right? Laie. Laie, Hawaii, at the Temple Visitor Center. Anyway.
There we go. There we go. Jamon's ready.
Yeah. She, so when she was in like a freshman, I remember thinking, what do I do to connect with Kimberly? And man, that girl, she has a fierceness that I think she only demonstrates with me later on when she gets married and her husband calls me, who is this person? I'm like, I warned you. That's what I'm going to say. Like,
That's how I am about
I
my
mean-
daughter. That's how I am about Jada now. I tell my wife all the time, then I let you go out. I'm like, cause she has a tendency to be very nasty and mean. I'm like, man, I can hear them calling me now. Hey, Dad, Mr. Branch, look, can you come over here and talk to Jada? Man, what's wrong? Hey, look, I try to apologize, man, but I'm stuck in the room, man. I can't get out. What you want me to do, bro? I'm like, hey, I told you.
like there's some fierceness that you just don't understand until you're living with them. And wow, Kimberly can have that for everybody else. Like, she's so nice and this and that. I'm like, just disagree with her on something or try and like put down the law. Good luck. See you later. And as a dad, sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have that relationship where you've got to tell them no, or you have to have parameters. You can't just let them be willy-nilly. But so her and I kind of I can't let them be willy lump. So Kimberly and I clashed a lot. I learned really quick that one of the ways she feels loved is when she is heard, and not just heard, but heard. She's got to get it all out. Yeah. Like, there's been times her and I have been butting heads about something. I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to bed, and then I'll be laying in bed. I hate myself. And I'll get up.
Feel bad, yeah.
I'm like, I hate myself for two reasons. One, I'm about to do this, which means I'm going to be up for another hour. But two, I shouldn't have let it get this far. So I go into her room, I apologize. What do you need to tell me, Kimberly? Because she's not going to sleep until it's all out. Yeah. So I learned that about her. And then sometime, around 13 or so, after work, I would just go into her room and sit. I don't know if I said this before. Maybe I have on this podcast.
A little bit, but yeah.
I'd just sit and listen. And she would just talk about nothing. And I've tried to do that same thing with my other kids. And I'm thinking about it right now. Benjamin is, he turns 18 in May, so he'll be going on his mission soon. He's working towards that. And
Luigi.
Bambini.
What was he in that play?
Oh, yeah. That was fun. It was Luigi, wasn't it?
I thought so.
I think so. Did I tell you about that? I played this old man in this play in a wheelchair. It's super funny.
It was good.
It was fun. And Benjamin was in that play too. So we did this play together, which was fun. It was a good experience.
Benjamin that way too, where he kind of wants to talk, or is he not?
Oh, he's much less of a talker than Kimberly. Kimberly, every week, I'm like, I got to plan 3 hours out of my Friday, which is her P day right now, because she's going to talk for 3 hours. And I love that, but I'm also like, okay, I got to plan my day around that. So Benjamin's less of that, but I'm working on, making sure that I'm also allowing him to talk and that we can have conversations. So, and I try and do that with Zachary and Nicholas and Sabrina, and they all have different things they want to talk about and such different personalities. But that is one thing I've tried to do. And again, not always well, but I want them to feel like they can come to me.
Right.
And I want to have conversations with them. You guys know me, I love to talk. And I also love to listen. And I want that relationship to continue. Yeah. You said something on Facebook the other day. You were talking about dreams, people living their dreams. And someone asked you what your dream was. And you said, and I'm paraphrasing, you said, my dream is that my kids will always want to come to me for help. And I thought that was really cool. But that will only happen if we're intentional.
Exactly.
About creating that space where they want to come to you. Not just they need to come to you. Yeah. They want to.
Yeah. And that's just overall a part of, being fatherhood. Each household, as a father or man, you raise your kids a specific way. And it could be based on your childhood. It could be just based on other people's examples, but you want to make sure that you're very intentional about doing right by them, because they have to go out here in this world. And if they're not prepared from the basics that you have to show them, they're going to be eaten up, eaten alive, And so, and each one of them, again, have their own different personalities. So you have to direct them differently. you can still instill certain values, like, hey, in our household, look, everybody going to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
Now, what you do when you get 18 and older, that's up to
That's
you.
up to you.
But right now, I want to instill this in you. So if there ever is a point that you need to go, holler at Heavenly Father, say you do decide you're not going to church, that well, I know what I need to do. I need to just go back to the basics. Let me go repent. Let me go ahead and talk to my bishop and see how can I get myself back on the path spiritually and understanding the gospel in the right way and helping it to lead me and guide me in my life. So,
Yeah.
we all have our different levels of fatherhood. Some people is, hey, son, let me go here and show you how to do this. Let me teach you a trait, and blah, 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 blah. And then kids sit there like, oh, dude, dad, I don't want to do this, but they don't realize it's a reason why the dad is teaching him to do that. It's not about the skill of the trait. It's about learning how to do something very constructive. And it may be something he may like, and he decide, all right, let me stick with it, because you got some kids that just give up very easily. I remember a situation with my son. He was trying to figure out why the kids on his football team hated him, and they was like, because you basically just lazy. You want to quit all the time. And he would always come home and be like, the reason he joined is because I played semi-pro football.
Oh, yeah.
And so he like, all right, Dad, I'm gonna go play football. I'm like, you sure? Because I'm just trying. This is a whole different animal here. But if that's what you want to do, I got you. Now, this is your chance to hop out. I said, but once you in, don't come to me saying you want to get out, because I ain't gonna let you out. I'm just letting you know now, because I don't want you to be a quitter. And lo and behold, it was like, what, 4 weeks into it or something like that. Dad, I'm ready to quit. I'm like, can you go talk? No, I ain't gonna talk to nobody. I told you what the situation was. And so he realized the kids on his football team started bothering him and picking with him, because they're like, you ain't even trying, man. And so finally the next year came, he was able to still stay on the team or whatever. And so he asked the guy, he was like, man, why you didn't like me? He's like, because you ain't put no effort, man. He said, all of us out here, you got skills and you don't even use them. You're just wasting your talent, where we're trying to get where we know that it comes easily for you, and you just ready to quit. On top of that, you're just being lazy. So that's why we didn't really get along, but then right in that moment, he kind of woke up, and I'm like, this is the reason why I want you to quit, because you have to put the effort forward. I can't do it for you. When you're out here living this life, I can't make you go to the job that you got. You got to do it. I can't teach you and hold your hand and be there to pick you up for everything. You got to learn these skills now. Yeah. And it's through different little things that you do as a kid to understand as an adult. No, it's not the same scenario situation, but you're still learning something. It's still part of growing. So yeah.
That that led me to think about this question. You're talking about, being able to do this and going through this process. What has being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ taught you about being a father? If you could identify, this is the one thing that I've gained about being a father because of the Church of Jesus Christ.
Patience.
How so?
Well, before I joined the church, I had a lot of anger and rage. And it has helped me to calm down, getting into the scriptures and understanding Jesus' example. How he was patient with everybody. You never, there's no stories in there about him snapping and going off. Now, it could have happened, but, and I'm pretty sure there's moments he had to be firm, but it still was in a gentle way. Yeah. Where you understood it. But it wasn't him like, yo, sit down, God dang it. Say, I was scared.
Hey, Al got a little nervous right there.
It wasn't like, that.
Even when the one example where he goes and he kind of turns the table, right, in the temple. Yeah. This wasn't just a out of the blue moment reaction. Right. This he planned, he prepared for you. He made the whip and then he went to the temple. It wasn't like you're saying, right? It wasn't just this out of the blue rage. Right.
So, it showed me how to be very patient with my girls and I have to, especially with my girls, I have to have patience.
Yeah.
Because again, they don't see the world the way that I do, or normal people, you know, well, who's normal, but again, they don't see the way the world that we see it. So you have to have patience, because for them, every day, as soon as they wake up, they on 10, and they don't calm down to 10 until their eyes close and hit that point of their sleep. So I learned a lot of patience, and studying and my scriptures and praying and going to church has truly helped me to be calm. And just the examples that I see in the different parents, it truly has, you know. I love the church, but some moments, you know, I'm like, yo, you sitting there letting your kids running around over there, because, you know, black people, we like, sit your boy, you sit down, and they know, right? They kids.
And
They know.
it's just even the look.
Yeah, it's just a look like, really? You know, but I've learned to do that, even being patient. Like now I can still do that, because that's just me and my culture, but I'll give my girls a look in with their autism, put their head in. You know dad ain't playing. Like, what? Well, whereas I see other kids running around, and you want to say something, but you can't say nothing, because then you fussing with the parents and stuff. So, but yeah, patience, man. Because the old me, when I first joined the church, and I'm seeing these kids crying and stuff, and I'm looking like, bro, will you take your baby out the goddamn? Yo, I can't hear the guy out there talking. Yeah, you think standing in the back is gonna help? No, bye. Get out. Like, what? Bye. You got to give him this look like, really? And then, you know, and of course, being the only black guy, whenever you look, even everybody else looking like, oh. I mean, you're like,
Car, lock the car door.
yeah, what are you doing? Right. Like, but you had something there, because I love when you pull yours.
Yeah, what you got?
What you got, brother?
I was looking for something, but I'll go to where I first went to. I love what you're saying there, especially since, you know, when we can learn so much about how to be a dad by watching how the Savior interacted with his followers.
Yeah.
Like some of his followers, you know, I'm judging them with hindsight, of course. So I'm, you know,
Was it?
So I'm not being judgmental. I'm looking
We
at
had it hard right now with like having 10 years of like breeding.
right. Yeah. These poor,
Could you imagine
these poor guys.
a few months?
Yeah. 2 years of following Jesus, and now you're go forth to the whole world. Right? Like, here you go.
Then my Lakers won again.
Oh, nice.
The Houston.
All right.
Yes, sir. Go boy. There we go. Yeah. I'm sorry.
You're good. So I love what
You're
we
a
can.
Lakers fan and a San Fran fan.
Mate, don't hate, bro. Congratulate, bro. That's what I'm saying. That's right.
Good stuff comes from California.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. I mean,
You got Santa Clara,
yeah.
which has a NBA team.
What? Clippers?
No,
Oh,
Golden State.
whatever. Anyway,
And
You don't like the, you don't like the, you don't like the Lakers?
I've been diehard Lakers fan before Denver was even thought of. So
Yeah.
you know, that's just what it is. We talking about Magic
talking
Johnson,
Magic.
Kareem. It's like, come on, man. Don't
Yeah.
we don't want to go there. Okay, Young Buck.
No.
That's gonna be his new nickname.
Young Buck. I like that.
No, but I just want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know, because you got and a lot of times when you're talking about city, you're talking about sports. I mean, you go city. You know, so I just wanted to know.
You see, I cut him down. See how Young Buck. It's all good.
I think we should call him Sage. Yeah, because he's our old.
And 49ers, of course,
Like
Joe
Sage.
Montana and them. So
Yeah. He doesn't even remember those days.
I'm sure he remembers those. He's a sports guy.
How old were you then?
I remember Joe Montana.
You might not know Joe Montana.
No, Joe Montana.
But the basketball,
I
because he's
wasn't-
into basketball. So
a couple years old.
Oh yeah.
I got you, Court. I
Yeah.
got you, Court. Don't worry about it. It's not about age. This is just, if you loved a certain sport, you know the history. So
It's true.
that's just
It's
that.
true.
Yeah.
And here, really, I'm not that much of a sports guy as far as
Yeah,
following.
as you telling on yourself. That's why I said what I was saying. Like, he
I know-
got something there.
I know-
You know.
Right. You
I know some things, but I don't know much when it comes to sports.
Magic Johnson played football. That's all you gotta know.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Did he make baskets on the football court?
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
So yeah, back to Jesus. And you know, he didn't have children, right? No record of that. And but he had his 12. He had his followers, right? And the way he associated with them is a great example for us. And the way he was kind and the way he was gentle. And he taught Joseph Smith in Doctrine and Covenants 121. You knew I was going there. I'm sure you did. Because he teaches us very clearly that patience is a must.
Yeah.
He says, especially when you are upset or a child needs some kind of discipline or reproving. He says, first he starts out with the whole no power or influence can or ought to be maintained by virtue of the priesthood. So we can't go and say, well, I am the leader of my house because I have the priesthood.
Yeah.
We have to approach it with long suffering, gentleness, meekness, and love unfeigned, which to me expresses everything that we've been talking about. Apologizing, having conversations with them, demonstrating your love for them. And then he says, by kindness and pure knowledge, which will greatly enlarge the soul without hypocrisy and without guile. Kids can see hypocrisy a mile away. And so this is the admonition from the Savior in Doctrine and Covenants. And then he says, reproving betimes with sharpness. And I love that. Reproving betimes, which means immediately, with sharpness, not meanness, sharpness or clarity. And then showing forth afterwards an increase of love, which I have tried to do intentionally as well. And you were explaining that, right?
Yeah.
When you have to do something, because you have to correct your children. That's part of being a parent. It's part of being a dad. But you've got to do it in a way that they don't think of you as the enemy.
Yeah. And it doesn't break.
And it doesn't break them. I like that. And then it says right here, you got to do this because that they might know that your faithfulness or your love is stronger than the cords of death. So I love this advice as a dad. So when you ask, you know, what has the church done for me? This has been a huge part of just how I've tried to be with my children. And again, I fail at it and then I need to apologize. I'm probably not as good as Cortland at it, but I have tried to apologize to my kids for the things that I've messed up or the mistakes I've made. And then I watch other parents in the scriptures, throughout the scriptures. Like, I love the relationship between Alma and his sons.
Yeah.
Alma,
What's the truth?
so there was Alma, the senior, who had Alma, the younger, who was, you know, going out trying to destroy the church.
Yeah.
And, you know, Alma, the senior, was praying for him, and that kind of relationship that he had with his son, that he didn't push him away. He loved him, prayed for him, fasted for him, and Alma, the younger, with the help of a big wake-up call, came back. And then Alma, the younger, giving advice to his three sons and being real with them, being direct with them, but also showing love the whole time. Those chapters in the Book of Mormon are really good examples of parenting and of being a good dad. So what about you? It's a good question.
Yeah. For me, one thing that I saw.
I'm sorry.
What's going on?
I'll just mess with him real quick. I just had to throw him off because
I was so thrown off. What? We've got Sage over here messing with you. One thing that I noticed about the generations before me in my household and in my family.
Where are you going? I want to look it up when you get there.
Family prop.
Oh, yeah.
one thing that I noticed about like the generations before me was there was a lot of his roles, her roles.
Uh-huh.
I go to work, you make me dinner, I get home and watch TV, we go to bed, you take care of kids, you take care of diapers, you do this, I do this.
And wake up tomorrow and do the same. They go.
Wake up and do the same thing, just over and over. And in trying to say this and without disclosing identities because I don't want to go there.
Just use makeup names.
Yeah. So just in kind of our extended family, just kind of the big picture. You know, we had John, and would go to work every day, and then come home and expect clean house, food, rest, TV. Meanwhile, his wife Jane had a ton of medical problems, also had a job, and also was tired.
Right.
So then Jane gets home 20 minutes before John, but John gets home and expects Jane to have everything done and ready for her. And I hated seeing that.
Yeah.
You know, and in this situation where you see a grown man doing that and you're just a young boy and you see the injustice, but because you're a young boy, you're like, I can't say nothing, you know?
Yeah.
So in the Family Proclamation, right, it addresses and says that there are responsibilities that men have. There are responsibilities that women have. And then there's this giant but. And it says here in kind of middle of the Family Proclamation, it says, husband and wife have a solemn responsibility to love and care for each other and for their children. Children are an heritage of the Lord. Parents have a sacred duty to rear their children in love and righteousness, to provide for their physical and spiritual needs, and to teach them love and serve one another, observe the commandments of God, be law-abiding citizens wherever they live. Husbands and wives, mothers and fathers will be held accountable before God for the discharge of these obligations. And one thing that I've learned as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and you know, this is my learning and growth, that neither is the man without the woman nor the woman without the man.
100%.
That we are one.
Yeah.
That I can't.
And that's not just in our church. That's just how it should be
everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, but go ahead.
And yes, 100% agree. But something that I've, you know, I got that from being a member.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know, I didn't learn that elsewhere. I learned that here.
Also, our church absolutely emphasizes that.
Yes, and
which is great because I learned that outside of the church.
Yeah. And when I was, you know, now living this, like I can't show up and be like, I did my part. Where are you, Simone? And one illustration that I loved is like, there's no such thing as like 50-50 relationships.
I was literally just thinking that. Continue.
And it's just like, I can't tell you how many times with like my surgeries and, you know, I'll say mental health, although I've never been diagnosed with things, right? My mental health of trying to deal with anxiety, trauma, like everything that I've been going through. like there have been times when like all I had was 5%.
Right.
Yeah.
And Simone had to give 95.
Yeah.
And then there have been times where, Simone has been at like 1%, after being with the kids all day, and she's just like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And, even though I've been at work all day and, I get home, the house is messy, the kids have been crying and screaming, dinner's not there. I got to show up.
Mhm.
I got to put in 99 today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow might be 99 too. And the problem is that people look at it as if it's this 100% that's divided among the two. And reality is it has to be 100% by both of you.
Yeah.
And when it's 100% by both of you, some days that may just look like 5% of your best.
Mm.
Some days it may look like 95. Some days you might be 100. But if you aren't showing up and helping and contributing to the family unit, you're not doing what God's asking you to do.
Well, I'm just sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so how does that correlate into, like, is that the fatherhood aspect of that for you?
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
a good question. Continue, because
I want to make sure, even though I'm listening to what you said,
Yeah.
but I want to make sure we still stay on that topic and stuff with everything that we're talking about. So how does that correlate with that?
And for me, what it's been is that I, as a father,
Mhm.
have to show up.
Okay.
That I have days where I'm not the best,
Yeah.
and I have to be man enough.
Mhm.
And I'm saying this very specifically. I have to be man enough to say, Simone, I need help.
Right. Yeah.
And to allow my children to see that.
Mhm.
And I have to be man enough to also say, hey, babe, I got you.
Yeah.
Like, let's do this.
Okay.
And, just yesterday,
Mhm.
and I'm going to use this example just because it's funny and it came to mind.
Mhm.
I have, again, not diagnosed, but I have some serious bouts with claustrophobia.
You're a professional psychologist. You could diagnose yourself.
Yeah. So I have some bouts with claustrophobia where I'll just like be so overstimulated. I'll feel so constrained. Like I gotta like walk around. I can just have like a pair of basketball shorts on. Otherwise I'm like freaking out,
Mhm.
and like people are close to me and I just like freak out.
Mhm.
And yesterday I was having one of these bouts, and I I just about drove down the street and just buzzed my head. Asked somebody, I'm like, I can't,
Mm.
like I was so frustrated and just like overwhelmed. And I walked into the bathroom, I grabbed a brush, a spray bottle, and a hair tie. I walk up to Simone, I'm like, can you do my hair? But it's just like one of those things where it's just like, instead of, in my life and being a father, instead of just brute force pushing through all the time,
Right. Right.
allowing for one or the other in the partnership and as a father and mother to take the lead,
Right.
or to show up a little bit more.
Okay. I like that.
Just to add on to what you guys have both said in the family proclamation, and love that you brought this up. It talks about, in these sacred responsibilities, fathers and mothers are obliged to, or obligated to, help one another as equal partners. So as equal partners, that doesn't mean 50-50 or you do this and I do this. Just you're a partnership. And the way I've seen this impact my own children, and even from my upbringing, the way that you treat your spouse has a huge impact on your children.
It does.
A good father
And their success.
absolutely. So a good father is going to show their children, their boys and their girls, how to treat their mother, because those girls are going to then go find a husband someday that treats her that way. And I'm with you a little bit. I've told my daughter before, I said, your future husband better respect you, because I don't want to go to jail. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, think about it. And
Just why to this day, my daughter makes sure. That's why she married a good guy, because God knows. She knows. Look, I will find. I ain't gotta have nothing but a nickel in my pocket. I bet you I'll make it back home. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. Yo,
so that's just the feeling of a dad, right? You're just like, but the best thing I can do for my daughter is show her how she should be treated by the way I treat her mother. So she goes out, exactly. So she goes out and finds the guy that's going to treat her this way. Yep. And for my sons, this is how you need to treat a woman. Yep. This is how you need to treat your friends growing up, your girlfriend if you or when you have one, and your spouse later on when you get married. And so to me, that's a huge element of being a good dad, is demonstrating those things for my children. Yeah. And demonstrating for them that there are no, in the housework, fine, there's gender roles in general. Those can be important. But who does the dishes and the laundry or makes dinner? Who freaking cares?
Whichever one of the
Whatever's available.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, whatever kids are available. Yes, true. Make them do. I mean,
I put in my time. You got to put in yours.
He said that quick. He was like, no. Like, they don't do that.
No, my kids do plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sabrina did the dishes today, and it took her 2 hours. But at least she's just there, kind of doing her thing, doing the dishes. I'm like, good. You're learning. But anyway, so I'm glad we brought up that element of being a good dad, is demonstrating what it is to treat your spouse well.
Yeah.
Well, your wife well, the woman in your life well. Yeah. That'll go a long way.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway.
What a great wrap-up point. Javon, you want to close us out?
Please like, subscribe, hit us up for ideas. Let us know what you think about the show. Until then, deuces. I'm tired. That's what that is. Don't let have more.
Thank you so much for spending the time with us today. We're grateful that you were willing to participate, whether it was on our YouTube channel or just in podcast mode, just listening. We hope that whatever situation or circumstance led you to listen or participate today, that you found value in what we had to say. With all that was said, what we ask in return is that you like, subscribe, that you comment, so that way we can have and continue to have these genuine conversations. Lastly, we have a free community where we are gathering men to be able to have these conversations in a safe, protected space. So if you go to school.com, SKOOL.com/the LDS Man's Heart, you'll be able to find us, join, and participate with us in that community. Again, we're excited and grateful that you were willing to be with us today, and we hope to see you soon.